I need you to stop everything you are doing right now because what I'm about to tell you is not speculation, is not analysis, and is not theory. At 7:43 this morning, 3 Republican Senate leaders walked into Mitch McConnell's office for what was supposed to be a routine leadership meeting. They walked out 47 minutes later, and within 2 hours, Washington had erupted into the most consequential internal party revolt since Watergate. This is not about policy disagreements. This is about senior Republicans concluding that Donald Trump has become ungovernable, and what triggered it will shock you. If you care about what happens next, subscribe to this channel right now and turn on notifications because the next 72 hours will determine whether the Republican Party survives intact or fractures completely. Let's go. Here is what nobody is reporting yet. Here is what I have confirmed through 3 separate sources inside the Senate Republican Conference. Wednesday morning, 2:17 a.m., Donald Trump places a call to the Senate Majority Leader. He demands an immediate vote on what he calls the Emergency Powers Expansion Act. He gives an ultimatum. Pass it by Friday, or I primary every single one of you. He threatens to campaign against Republicans in their own states. 6:30 a.m., leaked audio surfaces. A recording of Trump privately saying, and I quote, "I do not need the Senate. These people work for me." The audio circulates among senior Republicans. The reaction is not fear, it is fury. 7:43 a.m. An emergency meeting is convened. McConnell, Thune, Barrasso, Cornyn, 47 minutes behind closed doors. And what those 4 men decided in that room represents the most significant challenge to Trump's authority from within his own party ever. To understand why this morning's revolt is so significant, you need to understand how Donald Trump has controlled Senate Republicans for the past 8 years. This is not about ideology. This is not about policy. This is about fear. And fear, when weaponized effectively, can control an entire political party. Let me give you 3 examples that every Republican senator understands intimately. 2020, Mitt Romney votes to convict Trump in the first impeachment trial. Trump's response is immediate and vicious, complete and total disgrace. Romney is censured by his own state party. He is isolated. He is politically damaged. The message is sent to every other Republican senator: defy me and pay the price. 2021, Bill Cassidy votes to convict in the second impeachment. He does everything humanly possible to rehabilitate the relationship. He humbles himself publicly. He votes with Trump on every major issue. He chases approval that never comes. And the moment he stops being useful, Trump endorses his primary challenger anyway. The message is reinforced. Loyalty to Trump is never protection. It is a delay. 2023, Kevin McCarthy negotiates a debt ceiling deal. Trump privately disapproves. Within weeks, McCarthy is removed as Speaker of the House. The message is crystallized. I can destroy anyone at any time for any reason. This is how authoritarian control works in practice. You do not need to punish everyone. You just need to make examples. And once the examples are made, fear does the rest of the work for you. For 8 years, that fear has been absolute. Republican senators have watched careers end, watched colleagues destroyed, watched the price of defiance played out in real time, and they have calculated every single time that obedience is safer than resistance. But here's what Trump did not account for. Fear only works until people realize the threat is not going away. And that realization just arrived because 3 factors converged this week that changed the calculation completely. Factor 1, the electoral math has shifted. The 2024 Senate map is brutal for Republicans. 23 Republican seats are up for election. Only 11 Democratic seats, and polling shows that Trump association is now a net negative. Specific data from Montana, Ohio, Pennsylvania shows Republicans down 6 to 8 points when directly tied to Trump. One senator told a colleague, and I am quoting here, "I can defend conservatism. I cannot defend chaos." Factor 2. The Greenland disaster is not just embarrassing, it is dangerous. NATO allies are alarmed. The defense establishment is revoling. A retired four-star admiral told reporters, "This is not strategy, this is instability." Senate Armed Services Committee members are furious because they understand what the rest of the country does not. When you threaten military action against Allied territory, you are not negotiating, you are destabilizing the entire international order. Factor 3. The legal walls are closing in. Multiple criminal cases are accelerating. The Supreme Court is declining emergency stays. Trial dates are firming up. And a senior Republican lawyer said privately, "We are going to nominate someone who might be in federal custody by November." When you combine electoral vulnerability, foreign policy recklessness, and criminal exposure, you get a very different cost-benefit analysis. Suddenly, defending Trump is not just uncomfortable, it is political suicide. According to two sources who were briefed on the meeting, here is what happened inside Mitch McConnell's office on Wednesday morning. The participants were McConnell himself, the Senate Minority Leader, and the institutionalist John Thune, the Minority Whip, the pragmatist John Barrasso, the conference chair, the loyalist under pressure, and John Cornyn, senior member from Texas, representing the electoral calculation every Republican is making right now. McConnell started by playing the audio, the full 3-minute recording of Donald Trump saying, "I do not need the Senate. These people work for me." He played it twice. Nobody spoke. The silence in that room, according to one source, was suffocating because every person sitting at that table understood what they were hearing. This was not a president frustrated with Congress. This was a president declaring Congress irrelevant. Then came the key exchange. John Thune spoke first. "We cannot defend this. Not the Greenland rhetoric, not the emergency powers demand, not the threat to primary our own members. We cannot go on television and explain this to voters who are already exhausted." John Barrasso responded, and you can hear the conflict in what he said. "If we oppose him publicly, he destroys us individually. You know this. We have watched it happen. Romney, Cassidy, Cheney, everyone who stood up, they are gone or politically irrelevant. How is this different?" Mitch McConnell leaned forward. "Here is how it is different. He is going to destroy us anyway. The question is not whether we survive politically. The question is whether we go down defending him or defending the institution. And I am telling you, if we do not draw a line right now, there will be no institution left to defend." John Cornyn added the electoral reality. "Texas polling has me down 4 points. Every single point is Trump-adjacent chaos. My voters do not want this anymore. They want stability. They want governance. They do not want their senator explaining why the president is threatening to invade Greenland. And this is where it gets critical, because what McConnell proposed was not just symbolic resistance. It was structural. He laid out a plan. Draft a joint letter to the White House. State clearly that the Senate will not vote on emergency powers expansion. Announce that leadership will not campaign with Trump unless the foreign policy rhetoric is moderated. And threatened that if he initiates primaries against sitting senators, leadership will support incumbents with the full war chest of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. McConnell looked at each man. "I need to know right now. Are you with me on this?" Thune said yes immediately. Cornyn said yes. Barrasso sat in silence for what one source described as the longest 30 seconds of the meeting. Then he said, "You are asking me to commit political suicide." McConnell responded, "I am asking you to do your job." Barrasso said yes. 4 men, 4 votes. And with that, the structure that has held the Republican Party together for 8 years began to crack. What happened next moved with stunning speed. 9:15 a.m., McConnell personally called 15 senior Republican senators. The message was simple and direct. "We are doing this. Are you with us?" 3 immediately committed: Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski. These were expected, but 2 commitments shocked everyone involved: Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio. Let me stop here because Graham's decision is the earthquake. This is Donald Trump's most vocal defender. This is the man who played golf with Trump last weekend. This is the senator who has gone on television hundreds of times to defend every Trump controversy, every indictment, every investigation, and he just broke. According to a source close to Graham, he told colleagues in a private call, "I have defended everything, the indictments, the investigations, the rhetoric. I have stood by this man through circumstances that would have ended any other political career, but I will not defend threatening to invade Allied territory. I will not defend dismantling Senate authority. I will not defend calling senators who disagree with him traitors. There is a line, and he just crossed it." 10:47 a.m. The letter was drafted, 5 pages, legal language, constitutional framing. The key phrase, and I am reading this directly from a copy I have seen, "We can no longer in good conscience enable conduct that threatens constitutional order and undermines the institutional prerogatives granted to the United States Senate." 12 signatures were committed before noon. 11:30 a.m. Donald Trump got word. According to sources, an aide alerted him via encrypted message. The message read, "M. Connell and 11 others signing letter opposing emergency powers going public today." Trump's response, according to leaked texts that circulated among White House staff, was all capital letters, traitors, all of them. Watch what happens. He immediately began calling loyalists. 12:15 p.m. He personally called Lindsey Graham. The call lasted less than 2 minutes. According to someone briefed on the conversation, Trump said, "You are dead to me." Graham responded, "Then I am dead." The call ended. Trump called Marco Rubio. "I made you. I will destroy you." Rubio, according to the same source, said, "You are destroying yourself. Do what you need to do." Trump tried calling Mitch McConnell 3 times. McConnell did not answer. 1:40 p.m. The split became visible to the outside world. House Republicans issued a statement of full support for the president. Senate Republicans were conspicuously silent. Political reporters noticed the gap immediately. By 2:00 p.m., every major outlet was running stories about Senate Republican leadership refusing to back Trump's emergency powers demand. 3:00 p.m., the letter leaked, and this leak was intentional. The Washington Post received a copy. Politico confirmed the signatures within minutes. By 3:15, the full text was published everywhere, and the political world understood immediately what was happening. This was not a private disagreement. This was open revolt. But here's the detail that leaked 20 minutes after the letter went public. Here's the part that shows you how serious this is. According to a senior Republican strategist who has seen the internal documents, Senate leadership has prepared a 3-stage contingency plan for what happens if Trump retaliates. Stage 1. If Trump attacks publicly, 5 additional senators issue supporting statements. Leadership holds a press conference. The message is clear. We respect the presidency, but we serve the Constitution first. Internal assessment gives this an 80% probability of happening. Stage 2. If Trump initiates primary challenges, the Leadership Political Action Committee commits $50 million to defend incumbents. The National Republican Senatorial Committee refuses all funding to challengers. Corporate donors are mobilized. The message becomes the Senate conference stands together. Probability 60%. Stage 3, and this is the one that should terrify everyone. This is the plan they hope never to execute. If Trump continues escalation, the Senate moves forward with a formal resolution limiting executive emergency powers. This would require a bipartisan coalition with Democrats. It could include a potential censure vote. The message would be, constitutional limits are non-negotiable, probability 30%. One senator involved in drafting this plan told a colleague, and I am quoting directly, "We have war-gamed every scenario. If he wants a fight, we are prepared to fight, but he needs to understand something fundamental. This time, we are not backing down." Hit that like button right now if you are starting to see how this connects, because what I'm about to tell you about the Democrats' response is going to change your entire understanding of what is happening here. While Republicans were tearing themselves apart Wednesday afternoon, Senate Democrats held their own closed-door meeting. And according to sources in the room, Chuck Schumer made a calculation that will define the next phase of this crisis. Democrats face two options. Option 1, exploit the chaos, attack Trump and Republicans together. Frame this as GOP civil war proves unfitness to govern. Campaign on the dysfunction. The political upside would be enormous. But the risk is that Republicans reunify against a common enemy. Democrats become the external threat that pulls the fractured party back together. Option 2, enable the revolt. Stay silent publicly. Offer quiet support for constitutional measures. Let Republicans own the split completely. The political upside is more moderate, but the strategic advantage is that you remove Trump's ability to make this about partisan warfare. According to 3 sources familiar with Schumer's thinking, he chose option 2. And here is why that matters. This is political Aikido. By not attacking, Democrats remove Trump's most effective weapon. When Republicans revolt and Democrats stay silent, the story becomes solely about Trump versus his own party. And that is a narrative Trump cannot win. Behind the scenes, Democratic leadership sent guidance to allies. No statements criticizing the Republican letter, no celebrations on cable news, no victory laps. Instead, quiet offers to co-sponsor emergency powers limitation legislation if Republicans move forward. The message to Senate Republicans is simple. We will help you do the right thing without making you pay a political price for it. And the Republican response to this strategic silence has been remarkable because when Democrats do not provide an enemy to rally against, the internal fractures widen instead of healing. Wednesday evening, 4:30 p.m., Donald Trump's Truth Social account exploded. 27 posts in 90 minutes, all capital letters. Rhinos destroyed the party, primary them all. Senate leadership equals deep state. The fury is visible and uncontrolled. 5:15 p.m., the first primary challenge was announced. A MAGA-aligned challenger filed paperwork in South Carolina. The target, Lindsey Graham. Graham's response delivered to reporters outside the Senate chamber was 4 words: bring it on. 6:40 p.m., Fox News, primetime coverage split in real time. Sean Hannity defended Trump without reservation. Laura Ingraham expressed serious concerns about the Greenland rhetoric. Tucker Carlson said, Republicans are finally showing spine. Conservative media, for the first time in years, is no longer speaking with one voice. 8 now p.m. corporate donors reacted. 3 major Republican donors issued a joint statement. We support constitutional governance and institutional stability. This is code. This is the business community saying, we are backing the Senate, not Trump. 9:30 p.m. The count reached 17. 17. Republican senators now publicly aligned with the McConnell letter. 5 more privately committed, but not yet public. And the magic number everyone is watching is 18. 18. Republican senators plus all Democrats would be enough to block emergency powers expansion. 18 means Trump loses. But what happened overnight while Trump was rage-posting and Washington was reeling reveals something even more significant about where this crisis is heading. Thursday morning, 6 a.m. internal Republican polling data leaked to Politico. The numbers are devastating. Generic Republican candidate in swing states +2. Same Republican candidate with Trump endorsement -4. That is a 6-point swing when Trump gets involved. And that 6-point swing is the difference between holding the Senate and losing it completely. 7:30 a.m. Here is something nobody is reporting. Here is what 3 different Senate offices confirmed to me directly. 42 Republican Senate staffers signed an internal letter. We cannot in good conscience continue defending the indefensible. The letter threatened mass resignations if their senators backtrack on the McConnell letter. This is unprecedented. Junior staffers are forcing their bosses' hands. When the people who answer phones and draft statements refuse to do the work, the entire operation collapses. 8:15 a.m. The business community weighed in. the United States Chamber of Commerce issued a statement. Constitutional stability is essential for economic growth and investor confidence. Translation: stop the chaos or we stop the funding. The National Association of Manufacturers echoed the message within the hour. Corporate America just told Senate Republicans which side of this fight to be on. 9 a.m. international pressure arrived. The United Kingdom Prime Minister's office issued a diplomatic statement. We are alarmed by rhetoric regarding the territorial integrity of allied nations. Germany followed, France followed. The NATO Secretary General released his own statement. Article 5 commitments are sacrosanct and non-negotiable. Our closest allies just publicly rebuked an American president, and Senate Republicans are reading these statements, understanding that Trump has created a genuine international crisis. Do you see what is happening here? Trump is facing pressure from his own senators, from staff, from donors, from media, from international allies. This is not a single front. This is encirclement. And when you are surrounded, you have two options: retreat or escalate. 10 Dows. Thursday, Trump chose escalation. He announced an emergency rally. Location: South Carolina, Lindsey Graham's home state.